Today I had my first breakdown for quite a while, and it was pretty overwhelming for a certain amount of time. And obviously, with that comes a feeling, uh, a sense of failure to progress, or just sadness. No one wants to. No one wants to be upset, especially not while in the kind of process of trying to better themselves mentally. But good things come from everything. And the incredible thing that I found with this is that from all my journaling and video journaling, which is these videos, I'd given myself advice, essentially. I often talk about being your own best friend, and really looking out for yourself, in every aspect. And that's what that felt like today. Um, it was a sustained period of just, I don't even know what you call it, really. I'm not the best at describing emotional situations, but is what it is. Hysterical, I guess I'll call it, for a certain amount of time. And then, with my physical journal, my video journal, I realized that I've become this person to myself. This wise head for advice when I really need it. And I literally have a video on here called, well, I don't know what it's actually called exactly, but something along the lines of, do this when you're having a bad day. And I watched it, and it, it helped. It's like having someone talking you through a situation that is so specific to you that you relate, and you're so calmed by it. Because a big problem with when people are in these situations of hysteria, or just having a really bad time mentally, they all always seem like they're exclaiming how lonely it is, and how no one else can relate to this, and this and that. And I found that myself. I think most people would have had a situation where you're like, wow, no one could understand the situation that I'm in truly, and kind of level with me on that sense. And it does make you feel kind of a bit scared or worried, because you are alone. And with this journaling, it takes that away. You rarely have that feeling of, no one can understand me. I need to hear kind of wise words, and no one's going to be able to give me exactly what I need, because they don't understand this situation to its core. But of course, you do. And if you are being this kind friend to yourself, then you have that. You have that kind of comfort. Because, in this situation that I was in today, I was completely alone. I had no one, no thing, no, that everything externally to me was shut out. I didn't have a kind of means of looking extrinsically for help or advice, or comfort or anything. I didn't have that. And if I wouldn't have been making these videos, or journaling, and really looking into my mentality and my mind, and how it works, and how to improve myself, then I wouldn't have had any sort of aid in this, and that lonely feeling would have been astronomically elevated, you know, and it could have ended the situation much worse than it is in or was in. And it's more to say that, you know, less on a philosophical advice sense, and more on a kind of personal level, is that this is the kind of physical example of the benefits that can come from looking into mentality and really analysing it and proactively trying to look for a step forward and improvement and understanding yourself. And that is one of the good parts that has come from this. You know, there are many good things that has come from this situation, but the kind of outstanding factor was that you know, you could be in a situation where everything seems bad, you know, whether that's actually happened or you're just in one of those moods where you're negative, you know, you put that down on everything, and you can kind of invite that feeling yourself. But regardless of how the feeling arises, if you have this kind of safety net where, you know, if you're in a situation that suddenly arises out of your control, where all these bad things have happened and you're feeling not great, you have someone talking to you and relating to you and understanding the situation and giving you advice on it. And it's yourself. But, you know, I didn't even see it like that. I don't see these videos like that. I see this as separate people. It might make me sound like a schizophrenic. I'm not, but that's just how I like to see it. I see it as an older, wiser person that's talking to the emotional part of my brain. You know, the part that is harder to control, that tends to get you in these situations, and that tends to need this kind of reassurance or analysing. Because I know for me, very often I've been told that I'm not alone in things, or said that, you know, if this happens, then, you know, there's always someone to talk to, or there's always someone that can relate to your situation. And I never really bought into it, and it kind of shows now in these situations where it gets real, you know, it gets serious, and there aren't any other people, and, you know, on your first day of life to your last, the only person that's consistent through all of that is you. And you need to be able to make the most of that, because otherwise you're, you know, aimlessly existing for what? You know, you have someone that is with you through every single step of every second of your life, and that understands it completely. But a lot of people are ignoring that, or looking for their escape extrinsically elsewhere, in people, things, activities, drugs, alcohol, anything like that. You know, people try and look for those kind of outs, and however much they might work in the short term, everything leaves you at some point, whether that's, you know, in a good way or a bad way. It happens. You are the only person that's going to experience life with you and how you live it, so you've got to try and take advantage of that. And I just wanted to make this as a kind of example of, you know, it pays off massively. And I understand that, you know, not everyone is going to have the same experience as me, and maybe not get the same benefit as me from journaling and from trying to understand their mind and talk to themselves in a way, but it can help, you know. So if you're sat there in this situation where it feels like everything's gone wrong, and you're in one of these kind of mental spirals of overwhelm and panic and breakdown, whatever you want to call it, you know. This is solid, undeniable, unsurmountable evidence that you can have someone with you throughout that, giving you exactly what you need to hear, and in a way that you'll perfectly understand. Because I've always struggled with understanding and being understood, and I still do. You know, many people fail to understand me, and I fail to understand most people. But I know that I understand myself perfectly. So if you're able to use that to your advantage, you gain so much from it. And although the situation I was in itself was bad inherently, and you know, my physical reactions elicit that of someone in a bad way, again, you know, the good that has come from this situation outweighs the bad by X amount. You know, it's impossible to put a number on it. It's massive. But basically, to sum it up, I just wanted to provide something that kind of shows that you're not alone and you don't have to be in any situation. Whether you want to see it how it is and be realistic with it and say that, you know, you're talking to yourself and all that rubbish, good for you. But to the people that are understanding of it and that are open-minded, you get it, you know. There's always someone there that's with you. And if you start working on yourself now and understanding how your brain works, how to get out of situations where you need to improve, that person that's helping you out and with you is you're just giving them more knowledge, you're feeding them more, and you're giving yourself this evidence or this kind of safety net of, if a situation arises, you can just pull out this list and say, on this day I spoke about this, and that's this exact same situation. And then you go over that and you find that there's so much gratefulness and positivity that you can bring out of this, despite, you know, maybe at the time not wanting to see that. If you're in these kind of emotional states, people tend not to want to see anything else. But even if you are in an emotional state, at some point you're going to be able to calm yourself down and see you have this. You know, so it's less of trying to teach something this and more just showing people that you can help yourselves. You know, be kind to yourself and be your friend, and this is what can come from it. So